Hello and welcome to the 2014 Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Festival. I'm here with a face you all, I'm sure, recognize, Meredith Corson, who is the key organizer for this event. Welcome, Meredith.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be back.
Yeah, it's great to be here with you. Every year, people keep talking like it's family coming back together in a reunion. Yeah,
we feel like family. They welcome us like family. It's wonderful.
Well, we're going to be here all week long doing all kinds of shows, interviews with the various sculptors and the competitors that are involved in it, the people behind the scenes and so forth. We're going to be showing information all week long each night. Also during the day, we're having Meredith is doing her daily updates. So we're going to break away for a second to see one of Meredith's updates.
Hi, this is Meredith Corson with Standing Ovations. We are back again on Revere Beach. This is the 2014 Revere Beach National Sand Sculpting Festival. Today's day one and everything is already starting to happen. If you remember from last year, we had a new water system. Well, the water system has already been set up. We did that yesterday. Just had to add a few couplings here and there. It's all ready to go. We're going to be starting the centerpiece sculpture this afternoon, and we need that water for the centerpiece. So that has to be done first. If you can hear the front end loader that's driving back and forth, that's the sand that's already been dropped off this morning. We had 5 truckloads of sand. We already have 175 tons on the beach. We have 175 more tons coming very soon. But in the meantime, this front end loader is going all the way down to the end here. We have one front end loader on one side of the seawall and one on the other. And one dumps the sand into the bucket and he drives it all the way down. We have 15 individual piles for each sculptor. And that's what's being done right now. They're building the piles that each sculptor will be using during the competition. We have 15 sculptors again this year. We have 8 returning sculptors, a lot of fan favorites, so come on out and make sure your favorite is here. But we have 7 newcomers. We've brought in 5 sculptors from European countries, Russia, Singapore, Mexico. We have really amped up the talent this year, and you are going to see some amazing pieces of work. Like I've said, from year to year to year, this is an art gallery on the beach. This is not your little sand castle that you take a bucket and tip it over. These are works of art that you would see in any gallery anywhere in the world. It's free here on Revere Beach. You don't have to pay any entry fee like you do in a museum. Come on down and enjoy all this beautiful artwork. Hi there, Meredith Corson with the National Sand Sculpting Festival 2014 on Revere Beach. This is our weekend update. Today is Sunday. It's day 3. As you can see, the centerpiece is well underway. We're already working on some of the sponsors' logos. The 15 individual piles are all set to go. They're just waiting for the sand sculptors to arrive. Dan and Dan, our 2 Dans, are working on the centerpiece, the beginning of the centerpiece. It is a tribute to the armed forces. So what they're working on now, it's what we call blocking out, and they're getting just the basic shape of Iwo Jima. And Iwo Jima is going to be the top of the centerpiece, and then we're going to take it from there as a thank you to our armed forces. It's Sunday afternoon here on Revere Beach, and as you can see, the wind has picked up a little bit. What that means is there has to be a little bit of a game change with the sculptors. There are things we have to take into consideration. When the wind picks up this much, the sand dries out. What we have over here are spray bottles, and the sculptors have to continue spraying the sand. If they don't spray it, the elements naturally erode the sculpture. The sun dries it out, the wind blows it away. So what they do is they spray it to keep it wet, or they can seal it in with a water-based product that just gives it a little bit of a shell to protect it from the sun and the wind. Also, it has an effect on the sculptors themselves. You see I have this around me. This is on my face when I'm not doing this in front of the camera, because the wind is so strong. It's just in your face all the time. All the sculptors will probably be going to Lowe's tonight and picking up some sand protection for their face if the wind keeps up for tomorrow.
All right, welcome back to our live coverage here on the beach with Meredith. And it was a great update, and it looks like everything's moving along very well, yeah?
Yeah, beautiful. The centerpiece is coming right along. They're getting ready to take off the next form. That's the next big step, and everything's on schedule.
Oh, well, great. Okay, Meredith, you've been around since the beginning of this project. 11 years now you've been with the project. You've seen a lot of things happening and so forth, but you're also doing a lot of other competitive events around the world, if I remember correctly. How does the Revere Beach Sand Sculpting Festival compare to those?
Well, actually, the Revere Beach Sand Sculpting Festival is one of the most sought-after competitions for the competitors to be invited to. And one of the reasons is the quality of the sand. It's amazing. There is no sand like this in the rest of the world. And to have the pleasure of being able to work with the incredible sand, first of all. Second of all, the prize money and the show-up money is one of the largest purses in the world. There's maybe 5 competitions that everybody wants to go to, and Revere Beach is one of those 5.
That's incredible. The sand, and so is the sand because it's indigenous to this region, or it's just too expensive to ship everywhere, or what's the deal with the sand?
No, actually, what this sand is the tailings of some other product, and this is actually their waste. So we're recycling. It's a wonderful thing. They have mounds and mounds of this. It comes from Hudson, New Hampshire, and it's from a granite area where there's a lot of granite, and it's actually that dust, and they wash this out of the sand, and the rest of the sand is used for construction purposes. So it's a beautiful recycling program.
I was just going to say, a great recycling program,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the competitors that are going to be here this year. If I understand it right, there are 7 new competitors, and that means 8 returning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's talk about the new competitors first, then we'll go back to the 8 that are returning.
Okay. Well, one of my favorites right to our left over here is Hanukkah Supply. She's an amazing person, just to begin with. She and her husband both sculpt. They have 2 beautiful children. She's from Belgium originally, and they now live in Holland, and they're both artists. They sculpt other mediums. They do a lot of foam. I can't wait to see what she does. Dan and I compete against Hanukkah and her husband in Virginia Beach every year. But I haven't seen her in a solo for quite some time. Although she has been carving solo, I haven't seen her. Yep. So I'm really anxious to see what she's going to do.
Okay. And then coming up, we have, if I pronounce his name right, I think it's Zhuhang Tan.
Zhuhang Tan. Yep. He's from Singapore. Yep. Oh, an amazing detail. His attention to detail is phenomenal, and clean sculpting. Zhuhang has won many awards all over the world, and we're really excited to have him here. He's one of the big guns that we have brought in. Not that they're not all big guns, but we were able to go farther this year. Yeah. We were able to pull from farther away. I
was going to say, I did have a chance to look at some of his work, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does out here this year. Yeah. In addition to Zhuhang, okay. Zhuhang. We have Helena Bangert, yeah?
Helena is from Amsterdam.
Okay.
And she has been here before, but it was many years ago. It was one of her first competitions in the States. So she's anxious to return.
Oh, okay. And how long ago was it that she was here? Do you remember?
I want to say like maybe 8 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So is she one of the 8 returning, or is she one of the new people?
No, we're calling Helena one of the new sculptors, yes.
Been away long enough, but now she's a newbie, yeah? And then we have, I'm going to try this one, Mélange Beauregard.
Very good, very good. You have some French in there. Actually, Mélanage was just Joby's partner in Atlantic City, and they won the duos. So he is now going to be competing against her. Mélanage started, her father is a world-renowned sand sculptor as well, Guy Beauregard. And
I was doing a little research out there. I happened to see that they both compete together.
Yes,
right?
and it runs in the blood. Mélanage is one of the sculptors that's coming here from another event from Parksville, and she and her father just won that event.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And then we have one person that,
Rusty.
We have the Rusky. Yeah, talk about the Rusky.
Oh, I thought
But that's
Rusty.
Okay. Well, we could talk about Rusty afterwards.
Pavel Milnikov from Moscow is amazing. This is another one that Joby is scared of.
Well, it's good to have Joby scared this year.
Yes. Pavel is a classically taught sculptor, so you will see a lot of I'm not even sure the right word to use for it, but just classic sculpting. Absolutely beautiful. And we're really looking forward to seeing what Pavel brings here.
Oh, that's great. And then there's a person that I'm interested to meet, and that's Guy Olivier Devaux.
Yes. Guy just won the Hampton Beach event. So we've got a lot of people that haven't been seen here before that have won many competitions. So it is going to be a field of some pretty good talent there.
And I think that covers all of the new people. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Abe.
Abe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Abe Waterman is from Prince Edward Island, and he's actually here early. We brought in some of the sculptors early to work on the centerpiece, and he's very unique in his thought process. So if you read his bio and look at his picture, there's a uniqueness to Abe, and it comes out in his sculpting. So we're really
It's interesting. And when I read, because I forgot there was the last line had a question mark after, I said, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yes, Abe is very interesting, and that comes out in his sculpting.
And then we have the people returning. And you mentioned Rusty, so we'll start off with Rusty.
Okay, Rusty is also working on one of our individual solo sponsor sculptures that's new to the event. And he is returning last year, did the brain piece, which was a favorite. And Rusty's just this charismatic guy that is a fan favorite. Yeah,
and of course, Rusty's been around with this for a while. He's done his own show, the Sand Masters, was it?
Sand Masters.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, Sand Masters.
And then we have one of my favorites, Benjamin Probanza from Mexico.
Yes, Benjamin is looking forward to coming back, and you always get something very unique and very Dali-ish out of Benjamin, and he is very much a fan favorite.
Yeah. And then we have Chris Ginto and his wife, is it?
Chris and Marianne. They're from Key West, and actually they're hosting an event this year in November, so they're really excited.
Oh, really?
About it.
So they're getting into hosting their own now.
Yes, yeah.
And then, of course, we have Dan Doubleday, and then Dan Belcher.
Yes, Dan Doubleday. We just call them Doubleday and Belcher because it gets a little confusing. Both fan favorites. You'll see something incredibly clean and unique, I'm sure, out of Dan Belcher, and then Dan Doubleday. Nobody ever knows what he's going to do. You think you know his style, and then all of a sudden it's like, where did that come from? And it's completely different. So, and I don't even know what he's doing. Dan is my Dan Doubleday, but I have no idea what he's carving.
And then we have Joby, 3-time winner. I mean, like the New York Yankees, everybody wants to knock him off the top, right?
Right, yeah. When you're up at the top, they want to knock you down. And he's coming prepared. Apparently he has some special weapon that he's going to be unleashing on everybody this year.
Oh, okay. And I'm quickly go through my list.
Walter,
yes.
Walter McDonald from South Padre Island won People's Choice last year, and he will be back defending that title.
He did like a sandcastle.
He did, with many arches.
And that's what the event is most often called by many people, the Sandcastles event. So it's very appropriate. Yeah.
They are all sand sculptures. They're not all castles.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And those are the competitors, and then we have the people behind the scenes, and I talk about Ben Doubleday, who lays out all the pipes that you were talking about, and make sure that everybody has the materials that they need and gets all the logistics set up.
Yeah, and then we have another whole crew that comes in just for the judging to tabulate everything and come up with our winners.
Tell me about the other crew that comes in for the judging.
It's 2 of my daughters and their boyfriends, and they are our statisticians, but the guys are muscle. They help in the whole cleanup process the last day we're here.
Oh, okay, great. So then you have that crew, and then we have Debbie Catulli, is it?
Yeah, and we have locals. We have Deb Catulli. She's working on the centerpiece. She has done that from the very beginning, and she is a huge asset to the whole process here.
And then you have the two folks who come in to do the training with the children.
Yep, Sandy Castle and Raymond will be doing their lessons again. Sandy's actually here early this year working on the centerpiece as well.
Okay, yeah. That about wraps up the crew, the competitors, everybody that's going to make this thing happen during the week. I'm looking forward to see how it all evolves. Now we're going to go off and talk to some of the competitors, and we'll see you later on the beach.
All right, sounds good.
Take care. Okay, I am talking with Dan Doubleday, one of the premier architects and workers behind the Centra sculpture. And Dan, you've been with the Sculpting Festival since the very beginning, if I understand right. Talk to us a little bit about the centerpiece this year.
Well, the centerpiece is about our armed forces, a tribute to them, thanking them for their service, so the iconic Iwo Jima raising of the flag, is the centerpiece this year, and we'll have some dog tags up there with each branch of the service on the dog tag with a chain going through it. It was pretty easy design, actually, because it was all right there anyway, It's a pretty iconic photo, so.
Well, it's going to be kind of interesting, and it always is interesting to watch as this unfolds.
Yeah, we're excited. We've got some great talent here. Danny Belcher carved that whole thing by himself there in the last couple of days, and it's easy when you got people like that around you.
Now, I was talking to Meredith earlier today about the weather coming up, and in terms of the pound up, for the other sculptors before they start the carving, that's probably going to be good with the rain and all of that, but you're going to be working on the centerpiece. How's that going to affect you?
Well, this sand is really good sand. It can take a certain amount of weather, but we're expecting some tropical downpours, they're calling it, so we'll cover this with a thin sheet of plastic tonight to protect it, from the elements, and we should be okay. When the sculptures start on Wednesday, we kind of like it overcast and wet at that time, but after the sculptures start being carved, we like the weather sunny and fair, and so does the crowd when they come on the weekend. So,
but if I'm looking at tomorrow, it's going to be mostly raining all day long. So you're going to actually be working on this in the rain. How does that affect you there?
It affects us personally because it's kind of gritty and wet, and then the sun will come out and it'll rain. So we're crawling back into wet, sandy rain gear and then out of it and back into it, But it's all right. We've been through hurricanes and tornadoes and floods, and we pretty much we're professionals. We don't stop.
Piece of cake. Huh?
We're like mailmen, we just go.
All right. Well, switching from the centerpiece to your sculptor this year, where are you going to be in the lineup this year?
I am, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am number 8, so I'm right next to the group carve here. It starts down at the north end at 1 and ends at 15 down at the south end. Okay. And right in between them is the centerpiece here, so I'm centrally located.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you might be doing?
No. Well,
I expected that.
We have the most powerful lineup of sculptures in the world at this event this year. I mean, we went all out. We got people coming in from Russia, from Singapore, from Belgium, from Holland, from Mexico. I mean, the best of the best of the best are going to be here this year. So, and when you do this for a living and you compete against these guys all over the world and girls, the most important thing is the idea. Because there's only so many ideas out there, and so you really got to get creative in order to win. So nobody shares their idea before they're, we just don't talk about it because, it could be stolen from you, and we don't do that. So I'll do an interesting piece. Let me put it that way. Yeah.
And if there's anything comes through from most of the artists, it's a very personal thing. It's and I think, to quote you, from the heart. And I wanted to talk about that, Talking to the Moon, which was one of the pieces that was in your little bio this year. Tell us a little bit about Talking to the Heart and why that was so important to you.
Well, I had never been away from my baby girl, and when she was 11, I divorced her mother and I moved to Florida. And I was talking with her on the phone one night, and she was crying because she missed her daddy and I missed her. And I said, you see that moon outside? It was a crescent moon. She could see it from California, and I could see it from Florida. I said, anytime you want to talk to me, you just talk to that moon and I'll hear you. So I did a piece in Harrison. It was a little girl sitting on the moon with a face on a crescent moon with a face on it, and she's sitting there with her hand on it. It was called Talking to the Moon. That was for my daughter. And that's what I'm talking about, carving from the heart, because you leave a piece of yourself on the beach when you do something like that,
Yeah, that's so important. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, because that really speaks to every one of you guys that are out here. It's not, there are technical engineering feats involved in what you do, but it is truly from the heart, yeah?
Yes, well, that's all I ask of these. I've competed again. I met these guys traveling the world, and they're here because I know their capability, and I know that they they have a gift of leaving a part of themselves on the beach, and that's all we ask is you do that. And if you do that, the criteria comes automatic. You know, I mean, you'll fit into it. I don't want anybody to carve just to do this. If you carve from the heart, it's going to be there, you know, so it's real important. And you're going to see some great art here this week.
And I think every year we've seen that people do carve from the heart. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thank you.
Good luck the rest of the week. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're working on.
Okay, see ya.
Take care.
Thanks.
All right, I'm standing here with Rusty Croft and Dan Belcher.
Yeah.
And welcome, Dan.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And Rusty.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Going to be going back and forth here all afternoon. Rusty, you're working on this sculpture here, which is part of the whole kind of centerpiece area. Tell us a little bit about what this is all about.
Yeah, 20th Century Fox is releasing the DVD of Rio 2, the new kids movie coming out this Tuesday. And they hired me to do a sand sculpture here in Revere Beach just to promote that event.
Yeah, this is great. You know, with the parrot and the, what do we got here? The turtles and the little pigeons and...
Yeah, the whole family.
The whole family.
The whole family.
I've seen the movie, right? And Dan, you're working on the centerpiece with the other Dan up there.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's correct. What we're doing is a very stylized representation of the flag raising at Iwo Jima. So we just got that completed, and because the storm is coming in, maybe today and tomorrow, we're wrapping that in plastic so that we can secure that from the heavy rains. And once that passes, we'll take that plastic off and be able to continue on down that pile.
And so then, is it Wednesday? I think both of you are going to be going off to work on your individual pieces, yeah?
That's right. Yeah, that's correct. Not only us, but there's going to be 15 total carvers, competitors from I don't even know how many different countries, but just some phenomenal talent here, wonderful people. So starting Wednesday, and then for 4 days going straight through to Saturday, and then the judging, and we'll see what happens.
Either one of you want to talk about what you're going to be creating?
It's still it's very friendly competition, folks. Come on down, it's lots of fun.
Until Ginto gets here.
Yeah, until Ginto, especially when Ginto gets here, and we have someone to hold. I'm still working on the design. Maybe a big eyeball, maybe a big brain, maybe an abstract piece this year. So I'm still waiting for the inspiration, lightning to strike, so to speak.
No. Speaking of lightning, if I remember 2 years ago, you did a thunderstorm one. Am I right?
Yeah, I did a tornado coming through that year. Actually, it was interesting. In Missouri, we were having a lot of big. We had some big tornadoes and thunderstorms, and it was kind of a lot of people had a lot of loss, and it was inspired. A friend of mine's guy I work with, his parents survived in their house, huddled in the bathroom, and it was just amazing how many people survived. You know, just taking care of themselves, and so it was one of those things that was on my mind at the time.
Dan Doubleday talked about how a lot of what you guys do comes from the heart. And to your point, and I know your piece last year, I think, was a parent that passed away, was it?
2 years ago was a piece in remembrance of my mother. Yeah,
your mother.
Yeah. So, a lot of what we do, I mean, sometimes you do things that are a little more whimsical and something that's just more aesthetic. And then sometimes you really put your heart on the line, but your heart always goes into it no matter what you're doing.
So, and I'm trying to picture the word, but what is it that kind of influences you in your work?
It's the exact same thing like you're saying, from the heart. It's got to be something that you really feel and believe in, that you want to make happen. It's a lot of work. We move almost 30,000 pounds of sand in 3 days into a box, compress it, take the box off, and carve it. So to do that much effort, to put that much effort into something, you really want to get something out of it. So it's got to be something that you really want to express or believe in or bring to life. Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to see what both of you create. So good luck with the rest of the week.
Thanks, sir. Truly
Hope the weather doesn't cause you any hassles.
Yeah, me too.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay, I'm standing here with two of the other competitors, the first of which is Hanneke Supply from the Netherlands. Welcome, Hanneke.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, if I understand, you said you're from Rotterdam, yeah?
Yes.
But originally from Belgium.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was born in Bruges.
In Bruges.
But I got married to a Dutch guy, so now
Yeah.
I live in Rotterdam. Yeah.
I was doing a little research on you and about some of your work, and it was quite interesting, the heart, the soul that you put into your work. And some of you talk a little bit about what influences you.
Yes, yeah. I have a blog, which is called Studio Bubbles, and I'm Miss Bubbles, and I do illustrations, and I talk about creativity and where you get your inspiration and stuff like that, yeah.
I found it kind of interesting because I think your latest blog was about who you are or what you do. Talk about that a little bit, because that was quite interesting.
Yeah, because I do, of course, sand sculpting, ice sculpting, all these different materials, and I'm doing drawings. So sometimes it's very hard because people don't know, what are you? Are you a sculptor? Are you a illustrator? What are you? And I struggle with that, and I think in the end it's all about, it's all me, and it's about bubbles.
It's about bubbles. And next to me on my other side here is Abe Waterman from Prince Edward Island, if I got it right.
Yep.
Yeah, well, welcome, Abe. Tell us a little bit about your influences.
I don't know what influences me. It's just whatever, anything and everything.
Yeah.
I try and
So-
switch it up all the time.
Do you come with a kind of plan for what you're going to sculpture, or are you just going to make it up on the fly?
I generally come with a plan.
Okay.
My success with going on the fly is not so good.
So you've tried that before and it didn't work so well.
Yeah, well, I still try it all the time,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work out.
You a native to PEI?
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's great. My family comes from up that way, so welcome. So there's a little kinship there. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing?
I'm going to do a tribute to Ronnie Earl. He's a local blues musician.
Ronnie Earl and the Broadcasters here.
Yeah, it's them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite guitar players. So.
Interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's going to look like, or do you want to save that?
I'm going to have to save that because I'm still working on it.
There you go. Well, you got the idea, but not the thing. How about yourself, Hanneke? Can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be working on?
Well, I'm also working on something personal. It's about the fact that I travel a lot and I have children and I have my husband and I have all these different... So I'm doing a sculpture about the fact that you should never turn your back on the ones you love.
Wonderful. So there you have it. We have Ronnie Earl and the Broadcasters, and we have Never Turning Your Back on the Ones You Love. So once again, some really interesting pieces that are going to be evolving and developing on the beach as we go on. Thank you both very much. Good luck and welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care, Abe. Thank you. All right, I'm here with a face I think you all know, Miss Debbie Pesca DiGiulio, my co-partner on the Revere Review, the Columbus Day Parade, the Sand Sculpting Festivals. We're usually together as a team.
Yeah, we love being together. I miss my Ed.
It's so much fun, but we are not going to be together all week. Unfortunately, both of us have schedules that are keeping us apart for the most part of the week, but Debbie will be doing some interviews.
Absolutely. I guess you're going to give me the longer, harder names, and you're going to take the short, easy interviews. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, well, I think it's going to work out to whoever's here when we're here, yeah?
Exactly. And so I was just seeing you do a couple of interviews, and it seems I'm hearing something about the weather.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be rainy all day tomorrow, so there's going to be some issues with the rain. Although for the individual sculptors, that's not an issue because their sand will get watered down, which they do anyway.
Right.
The big concern is with the centerpiece and how that may hamper their work, but they all seem to be okay with it. They think it's not going to be a problem.
Okay, so when are we back together again?
I think we'll be back together again on Thursday, maybe?
Thursday sounds good, and then it looks like maybe Saturday.
Saturday.
For the end of the competition.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Okay. So, looking forward to the rest of the week with all of you.
Yes. Glad to be back, Ed.
Take care.
Take care. That's our signature.